Okay, before I talk about why you don't need a process for your acting, I gotta tell you this story about what I used to do to get on people's radar. So in acting, you've gotta take risks and you gotta get creative in order for people to know who you are. So here's a creative way to get yourself seen. One night, years ago, I was bartending at a residence on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And at some point in the night, I learned from my coworkers that it was the apartment of a known film producer. Now, I've always adopted this belief. You are where you are for a very specific reason. And I wasn't gonna let this opportunity go to waste, but I also knew to not be distasteful in how I worked to get on this person's radar. So my plan was to find my way into their home office and drop off a headshot and resume. There was only one problem. I didn't have anything with me. I'm a big risk taker, especially when it comes to these types of things. So I snuck out, I popped into a cab and dashed across town to my apartment to pick up my portfolio. By the time the cabbie got me back to the party, no one was the wiser. I had my stuff hidden inside my shirt, and when the time was right, I placed it on her desk for her to see the next day. Not too long after that, I was walking down my street in Queens where I saw tons of trailers, and I found out it was Ben Stiller's production. He was shooting a film. So I ran to my apartment down the street, grabbed resumes, and dropped them off at any trailer that I could gain access to. It's so important that you take risks like this. I never had to wonder if I was doing everything in my power to get seen because I was often pulling these little stunts. It also gave me the hope that I'd be found. Some way, somehow. Here's something else. I'm notorious for communication and confirming auditions, but twice this week, I lost jobs because I took 6 minutes to confirm the casting. Now, that's a very rare and extreme situation, but there are times that I don't see the email and maybe I miss an opportunity. It sucks. You know, jobs don't just come around all the time. At the same time, I don't want to be buried with my eyes on my phone every minute of the day. So here's what I do. For all my important casting venues and companies, that's reps' emails, their phone numbers, casting site alerts, etc. I set a specific notification tone so I know to check my phone when anything comes in. Your theatrical reps, extras, casting directors, they need confirmation, whether that's on Actors Access or Backstage, and they will all be so grateful for your quickened courtesy. And this way, you're not spending all day hanging by the phone. So, let's talk about process. I do not believe you need to have a process for intense character work. People often ask me, what's your process? Well, I don't have one. I think I have an approach to character and scene work and the film as a whole. If you have a process and you need it to inspire character and ponder their choices, that's great. You need to talk about intention and emotional impulses, conflict, that's cool. For some people, they just don't need it. And if you're one of those actors, that's okay. Personally, it's just me, but I think it's unnecessary dissection and it can easily complicate the whole natural approach. Let me ask you this. When you go on a date, do you have to go in-depth analyzing about your internal intention on the way over? No. When I get sides or a script, it's lightning fast. My instinct speaks. Artistic choices are inspired. Impulses kick in. And I deliver the lines any person under these circumstances would react and respond. You infuse it with a bit of magnetism and screen presence, and sometimes it's just that simple. I used to see all these people in class marking up their scripts and talking for hours on end about the character, and I thought something was wrong with me. That's not to say that I don't put a magnifying glass on certain places of a script, especially when I'm shooting film. Character, maybe they have broader dimension, and maybe the film doesn't shoot chronologically, and especially if that character changes over time during the film. I do need some sort of map to keep the character tethered to the story. So if you're a little lost in your scene work, chances are that you need some sort of method, and you're going to find that as you go. But of course, in order to build your style and approach, you need to book the role. That's where scene studies come in. If you're sending in auditions and you're not booking, my advice is to be humble and recognize that you may need a guide on the outside. For me, I was a pupil of Bob Krakauer and Ted Slubersky in New York. They changed the way that I approached scene work entirely. I didn't even know there was another level that existed, but I had to be willing to spend the money and the time to be rewired, and I was shown the pivotal practices, and now it's automatic. I don't need a coach. I just don't. Good scene work is ingrained to a point where I don't even think I have a process. There are just moments, embraced and asserted, that make the scene great and the story something worth watching. Your scene work must be like brushing your teeth or riding a bike. You can just get right up and do it. So easy, so natural. It's got to be a part of you.